everyone. My name is Courtney Caton, and I work with the Envision Learning Partners, or ELP. And I'm here with my wonderful colleague, Josette Nilda Stanton, an assessment design partner. And we are going to talk a little bit about Beijing. So we recently, or Josette and our former colleague, Abby Benedetto, they went to Beijing recently, last month in August, and now they're back. So you're back from Beijing, and we're going to chat a little bit about it and share your experiences. Um, so what was your overall experience? How'd it go?
Thank you, Courtney. It was amazing. Just overall being able to go out the country and do the work that we do with ELP was just like exciting and a little nerve-wracking. But overall, I one of the best experiences I've had in recent years, especially related to, the work that we do.
Mm. So if going back or going into a little bit of the work, so what does performance assessment and deeper learning look like out there?
Well, Abby and I found out that China has a growing network of deeper learning, which they're trying to connect more with the United States and the work that we're doing. And so we went back. We were in Beijing in 2018. I wasn't, but ELP was, and they started this work with Moonshot around performance assessments and kind of building these systems and structures. And so we're just kind of going back and adding on to it. And so they took the work that they did with Ruth and Abby and just wanted to see like, okay, now that we have this new crop of teachers and we're merging schools, how do we make this even stronger? So we went in with some HQPA, the high quality performance assessments, to help them build their already existing performance assessments out. And then we also worked with them around their UBD, which is the understanding by design. And so one of the products they came up with from 2018, which is what they use now, is this assessment bank. And so this was inspired, they said, by the work they did with ELP back then. And they're just dedicated and committed to really saying that we want to do this regardless of how many teachers stay or leave, and we want to keep the quality going. So they built this bank for all their content areas for teachers to follow and for students to continue to get those experiences that go beyond just the test, right? And so, yeah, they're really committed to it, and it's great to see how they're trying to grow it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we'll include a few pictures of that book in the newsletter blog so folks can check it out if they want to. Um, I mean, it sounds great. Like, what did you run into any challenges of doing PD internationally? Like, did you have to prep for anything that you don't normally have to for domestic clients?
I mean, I think the biggest challenge for us was just the visa to get out there. So that took a lot. And I, was down to the wire on me getting out there with that visa. And then in terms of just prep, I think it was just Abby and I thinking of all the what ifs. And so based on the experience that she had with Ruth in 2018, we tried to troubleshoot as much as possible around like what happens if we don't have internet and we need to have things downloaded already, or they don't use Google and we use Google for everything. So how do we make sure that we have all of our materials for them? And so it was just a lot of that kind of planning on the back end of like, what could go wrong in terms of the deliverance and the materials we needed, and then how do we troubleshoot as much as possible.
Mm. Did you run into any facilitation obstacles while you were out there, or?
I think the biggest thing for us was one is not knowing the varying levels of English that we had teachers coming in with. And so while we were told that they all speak English, not all of them really understood it as well as others. And so I think one of the things Abby and I said we would do is if we had more time and we knew better, we would have had more things translated. They did have an amazing group of interns that were able to do a lot of stuff for us, like on the spot, which was really great. And so we were able to service. And then some of those teachers did have their own tools as well of like, hey, I have this thing and we've been using this to translate, but we could have planned a little bit if we known. And I think some of the other obstacles were just like trying to meet the needs of the varying levels of teachers. So they were not new teachers, they were just new to Moonshot. And so we did have some kind of on spot changes we had to make once we found out where they were at, and that we were the very first PD they were having as brand new teachers. And so a lot of it was just about like, we love what you're doing, but we don't know where to find these things in our So can we, have some time for that? I think Abby and I did a great job adjusting on the spot for those challenges.
Hmm. Yeah. What were your overall highlights of the trip? Like, what are any personal highlights, or what are you walking away with as a facilitator and bringing back to ELP?
I think, I mean, in terms of like work highlights, it was just working with that amazing group of educators. Hands down, like one of the best groups of adult learners that I've ever worked with in terms of delivering professional development. And they were just patient and kind and thoughtful and eager. And we were new with them, but they were also new with one another. And they just bonded so quickly to support and get through all of the things. And so we sang their praises the whole time to both Ryan and to them, so they knew. And then a personal highlight for me, aside from being able to get out the country for the first time, who knows, like since my birth, and being able to experience a different culture, and especially being a Black woman going to a very homogenous population, was just knowing that one, what I do and how I show up is important and it's magic. I got really good feedback from all of the teachers around just like me, right? Which it felt good to say like what I do and who I am and how I show up can really touch people from all over the world. And then to see what we do as ELPers, right? Like what we do, how we facilitate, how we intentionally build out our structures and systems can get through to different educators from all over the world. Because while we were in Beijing, they had folks from England and from other parts of China and from Thailand and from the Philippines, just everywhere,
Wow.
even the United States too. And to know that what that performance assessments and deeper learning is something that a lot of people really believe in, and the quality that they want to provide for students is important, and we just vibe together, so it was just amazing. And then the food was really great, and the food, and that we had to see some sights too, so that's a personal highlight, going to the Summer
Yeah.
Palace, doing a little shopping, and yeah, so the experience was just, it was amazing.
Yeah. That's awesome. And what are Moonshot's next steps? So do we have another trip coming up anytime soon, or
I think we're working on that. Ruth is in contact with Ryan to give some like kind of like high level feedback in terms of what went great, and then some of the suggestions we have based on what we saw. And I know the teachers said they would love to have us back, so that's also always good to hear. And I know Ryan did when we were leaving, was like, hoping we could work together in the future. So I think it's just kind of closing up some ends for this trip and getting those initial conversations going around, like the feedback, and then thinking about where they're trying to go and how ELP can support with building out their performance assessments, and like we were telling them the whole time, going from good to great. But it would be great to go back. That our visa is good for 10 years. So it would be amazing, and hopefully to go back longer, so we
yeah.
can really stay out there and see more of Beijing, and kind of sit in even more with what they're doing, and
Mhm.
seeing how ELP can support.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited to see. We're going to attach some more pictures into this blog post, so folks can see, and I'm looking forward to that and our future with in collaboration with Moonshot. So
Yeah,
thanks.
definitely. Maybe ELP can be international moving forward, and we'll see
Yep.
how that goes. We got invited to Hong Kong, so we'll see.
Okay, well, we'll get some updates later on that. So thanks, Josette.
Thank you.